For the victims, it's a financial total loss. They buy expensive cars that don't even belong to them in the end. So, we're talking about damages of over 200,000 euros. Trick: perpetrators with false identities lease vehicles, which they then simply sell. I think this is a massive scam, a gang of counterfeiters ripping people off at a very high level. A scam so elaborate that it's been planned years in advance. When I saw the case, I easily knew that is a scam, and that they go beyond that. Forging vehicle registration documents and then selling the cars is really quite brazen. Catching the perpetrators is almost hopeless. A car repair shop in Magdeburg. This is where Lars Hardenberg parked his Audi Q8. The 286 horsepower car has been sitting still for 2 years now. Back then, the car was supposedly a bargain, only a month old with accident damage. I found it very interesting, even with the damage, which I was previously interested in. It's not that badly dented, I'd say, where I'd always say it could maybe be dented, maybe a new axle stub rebuilt or something like that, as we've already said, for maybe 10 to 15,000 euros. The new value is 100,000 euros. Hardenberg is paying just under 63,000. The documents and papers appear to be in order. These are the spare keys, which, as mentioned, also include the pen. As you can clearly see, this is the second original key. The other original key is also there. And even the auxiliary heater is still sealed because the car was so new. So, as I said, I got a registration certificate with it, and the onboard folder that I have here. Everything as it should be. What Lars Hardenberg doesn't yet realize at this point is that he's been taken in by a fraudster, because the Audi doesn't even belong to the seller. Looking back in June 2019, Hardenberg found a vehicle like this one on the internet portal, an Audi Q8, in mint condition. The unrepaired accident damage justifies the relatively low price. The seller is Pavo, a man with a Croatian passport. In July 2019, the building contractor Hardenberg arranged an appointment with the alleged building contractor Valove in Hamburg to hand over the car. I had arranged to meet the seller of the Q8 here. There we see 5, which he sent me, that we should meet here, because down here in the underground car park the crashed vehicle is parked. The meeting is scheduled for 4 p.m. But Valove doesn't show up. Instead, Hardenberg's cell phone rings. He said he couldn't make it, and we have to wait 3 to 4 hours. Or, alternatively, he could send one of his employees who would trust me, who would give me everything. To verify the vehicle, he provided everything, including the vehicle registration document and all the keys. He didn't become suspicious. He asked to see the ID and take a photo of it. Everything seemed to be in order. Hardenberg paid the 62,500 euros in cash. Not unusual with a used car purchase. Back in Saxony-Anhalt, his secretary will take care of the remaining paperwork. Then the new luxury car suddenly becomes a problem. I went to the authorities and was asked to deregister the vehicle. And then I was told to hand over the registration certificate because the number was incorrect. So I called police and had them check to see what might be causing the problem with the vehicle registration document. And then the police officer told me, after comparing the number, probably with his documents or data from the computer, that this vehicle registration document was part of the theft from a registration office in Duisburg. Duisburg, Easter 2017. During a break-in at the traffic department, unknown persons stole 15,000 blank documents, including vehicle registration documents, registrations, MOT stickers, and stamps. A clean slate for criminals. The stolen documents have since resurfaced in connection with more than 700 crimes across Europe. So, generally with these blank registration certificates, the criminals naturally use them for vehicle sales, or generally with the seals and stamps they've stolen. They can then demonstrate that the cars weren't stolen. That means they can give the cars a second life, a new life. Exactly. They can then, of course, somehow enter falsified data and affix the stamp and seal to create the impression that they weren't stolen or misappropriated. In this particular case, the car was also acquired entirely legally. At this Audi center in Leverkusen, the Q8 was leased by Pavo from Bulgaria. A short time later, the car suddenly found a new owner, Pavo from Croatia. And he did it with the help of stolen vehicle documents and stamps from the traffic department in Duisburg. To obtain a leasing agreement, a company must be creditworthy. In this case, Managing Director Pavo leased the car in April 2019 on behalf of IDA Handel. The company is registered in these warehouses in Neumünster. According to the commercial register entry, IDA carries out screed work in trades and building materials. We attempted to question the current managing director about the existing leasing agreement, but nothing came of it. The company doesn't even exist at the registered address. According to investigators, IDA is a shell company. It presumably serves the purpose of presenting a clean image when applying for loan applications. It remained inconspicuous until 2015. Then, in 4 years, the company headquarters changed 3 times and the managing director changed a whopping 6 times. Among them was Bulgarian Pavo Vlayev. Leasing documents reveal that Vlayev leased another Audi in Leverkusen. We found the car in Austria. Erwin Winkler fell for the scam. I was fooled and found a cheap car online with alleged wildlife damage. This is the Audi I bought in Hamburg 2 years ago. The vehicle was advertised for 65,000 euros. In my opinion, that's pretty much the current value, considering the damage. The wildlife damage on the front, the bumper, the grille, and the spoiler are all broken. The tire dealer has been importing vehicles from Germany to Austria for decades. To protect himself from ripoffs, he emailed all the paperwork and the vehicle registration number from the seller. He also checked whether the vehicle has been reported stolen. So on July 21st, I wrote to the gentleman that I was interested in the Audi Q8 and asked if he could send me photos. Within a few minutes, he sent me photos of the vehicle, the chassis number, and immediately the letter from Germany, Part 1 and Part 2. Then the gentleman sent me his ID card, which I wanted from him. The gentleman met me at the airport. According to his ID, the man with whom the Austrians met in Hamburg on July 27, 2019, to hand over the car was Pavo from Croatia. Then we sat down in cafe, did all the paperwork, and handed over the money. And then we said goodbye and I set off back to Austria. Winkler also paid the 65,000 euros in cash, received the keys, and the supposedly original documents. When the new Austrian owner tried to re-register the car, he was told that the vehicle registration document and license also date back to the theft in Duisburg and were fake. The Austrian State Criminal Police Office's investigation into the seller is also explosive. The files state that it was also obtained through the Croatian authorities that no Croatian citizen with the stated data exists, and that the provided identification document presented is a forgery. A veritable mark has now emerged for GmbHs with impeccable credit ratings. These so-called shell companies are ideal for leasing fraudsters. We met with an insider. He assumes that there is a gang behind IDA Handel. This scam was planned from start to finish. The company bought 2 vehicles, in this case we know of 2 leased vehicles, and handed them over. Someone signed the contract. The vehicles were driven briefly. Then something happened to the vehicle. Whether it was damaged in an accident, whether it was rented out, or whatever, a little money was earned. And then, for whatever reason, the vehicle was sold very cheaply, in this case, due to accident damage, to someone who is now the one who gets the short end of the stick and has purchased a vehicle that is still on lease. The search for Pavo Vlayev, who leased the cars as a managing director, leads to Barg, Schleswig-Holstein. This is the Bulgarian's last registered address. Hello, hi, one question please. We're looking for Mr. Pavo Palavel. Would you please come to the door? We're looking for Mr. Pavo Palavel. No, I don't know. Are you from Bulgaria? No. Where are you from? Moldova. Okay, and you don't know these gentlemen, never seen him? I have no idea. Don't live here, no. Do you know the company IDA? No. 5 Moldovans live in the house. Suddenly, the man remembers the Bulgarian Vlayev. Do you know him? Do you know if the man is still alive or if he's dead? I think he is in Bulgaria. In Kiel, the public prosecutor's office is investigating the 3 Pavels, who have similar surnames, probably not just by chance. The result, the Bulgarian Pavel Vlayev is allegedly dead. The identities of the Croats Pavel Valove and Pavel Palavel are fake. The proceedings were initially directed against 3 suspects. After one of the 3 suspects died in the meantime, the proceedings were discontinued. The whereabouts of the remaining 2 are currently unknown, so we have temporarily suspended the proceedings in this regard, initiating appropriate search measures. If the search measures lead to us being able to determine the whereabouts of these 2 additional suspects, the investigation will continue. There are 2 Audis located in Vienna and Magdeburg that cannot be registered because they still belong to the leasing company. Lars Hardenberg has already filed a lawsuit against Volkswagen Leasing in the 2nd instance for the release of the original vehicle registration document, but so far without success. If you're standing here today and looking at this, it's an absolutely queasy feeling. Absolutely a bit of a queasy feeling in my stomach, and of course, a bit of hatred, because the whole story, the whole enterprise, has cost me around 70,000 euros. That includes the lawyer, the car purchase, and above all, the fact that the German government isn't supporting us against such fraudulent activities. The result, 2 injured end customers, a defrauded leasing company, and a gang which made the loot. If you find this video helpful, please hit the like and subscribe button to help the channel. Thank you.